The Way to Blessedness, Part 4. This is the line of thought that you will find in the Vedanta philosophy. We see first that here is a thought entirely different from what you see anywhere else in the world. In the oldest part of the Vedas, the search was the same as in other books. The search was outside. In some of the old books, the question was raised what was in the beginning, when there was neither ought nor not, when darkness was covering darkness, who created all this? And the search began. And they began to talk about the angels, the devas, and all sorts of things. And later on, we find that they gave it up as hopeless. In their day, the search was outside and they could find nothing. But in later days, as we read in the Vedas, they had to look inside for the self existent one. This is one of the most fundamental ideas in the Vedas, that our search in the stars, the nebulae, the Milky Way, in the whole of this external universe leads to nothing, never solves the problem of life and death. The wonderful mechanism inside had to be analyzed, and it revealed to them the secret of the universe. Nor star nor sun could do it. Man had to be anatomized, not the body but the soul of man. In that soul, they found the answer. What was the answer they found? That behind the body, behind even the mind, there is the self existent one. He dies not, nor is he born. The self existent one is omnipresent because he has no form. That which has no form or shape, that which is not limited by space or time, cannot live in a certain place. How can it? It is everywhere, omnipresent, equally present through all of us. What is the soul of man? There was one party who held that there is a being, God, and an infinite number of souls besides who are eternally separate from God in essence and form and everything. This is dualism. This is the old crude idea. The answer given by another party was that the soul was a part of the infinite divine existence. Just as this body is a little world by itself, and behind it is the mind or thought, and behind that is an individual soul, similarly, the whole world is a body, and behind that is a universal mind, and behind that is a universal soul. Just as this body is a portion of the universal body, so this mind is a portion of the universal mind, and the soul of man a portion of the universal soul. This is what is called the Vishwa Advaita, qualified monism. Now we know that the universal soul is infinite. How can infinity have parts? How can it be broken up, divided? It may be very poetic to say that I am a spark of the infinite, but it is absurd to the thinking mind. What is meant by dividing infinity? Is it something material that you can part or separate into many pieces? Infinite can never be divided. If that were possible, it would no more be infinite. What is the conclusion then? The answer is that the soul, which is universal, is you. You are not a part but the whole of it. You are the whole of God. Then what are all these varieties? We find so many millions of individual souls. What are they? If the sun reflects upon millions of globules of water, in each globule is the form, the perfect image of the sun. But they are only images, and the real sun is only one. So, this apparent soul that is in every one of us is only the image of God, nothing beyond that. The real being who is behind is that one God. We are all one there. As self, there is only one in the universe. It is in me and you, and is only one, and that one self has been reflected in all these various bodies as various different selves. But we do not know this. We think we are separate from each other and separate from Him. And so long as we think this, misery will be in the world. This is hallucination. Then the other great source of misery is fear. Why does one man injure another? Because he fears he will not have enough enjoyment. One man fears that perhaps he will not have enough money, and that fear causes him to injure others and rob them. How can there be fear if there is only one existence? If a thunderbolt falls on my head, it is I who was the thunderbolt because I am the only existence. If a plague comes, it is I. If a tiger comes, it is I. If death comes, it is I. I am both death and life. We see that fear comes with the idea that there are two in the universe. We have always heard it preached. Love one another, what for? That doctrine was preached, but the explanation is here. Why should I love everyone? Because they and I are one. Why should I love my brother? Because he and I are one. There is this oneness, this solidarity of the whole universe. From the lowest worm that crawls under our feet to the highest beings that ever lived, all have various bodies, but are the one soul. Through all mouths you eat, through all hands you work, through all eyes you see. You enjoy health in millions of bodies. You are suffering from disease in millions of bodies. When this idea comes and we realize it, we see it, feel it, then will misery cease and fear with it. How can I die? There is nothing beyond me. Fear ceases, and then alone comes perfect happiness and perfect love. That universal sympathy, universal love, universal bliss that never changes raises man above everything. It has no reactions and no misery can touch it. But this little eating and drinking of the world always brings a reaction. The whole cause of it is this dualism, the idea that I am separate from the universe, separate from God. But as soon as we have realized that I am He, I am the self of the universe, I am eternally blessed, eternally free, then will come real love, fear will vanish, and all misery cease.